So, you've decided to buy DayZ. I suppose either congratulations or condolences are in order.
So you're going to die.
Being new to DayZ can be a challenging experience. The game itself is difficult, but I also think the game is harder than it has to be on new players, because it's not always clear how just simple mechanics work, like what you're supposed to do when you start playing the game and how to get any sort of enjoyment out of it. I did address some of these issues in some other videos that I've posted, but I've seen people asking me questions on those videos and of course on Reddit. Simple basic things just regarding how to navigate the game, how to use the game as a piece of software, more than any actual gameplay function. So as usual, I am here to help. Let's take a look at what we do upon booting up the game, even if it's just the very first time you're loading into DayZ. And for what it's worth, I do plan on putting a little bit of action at the end of this video. It's not the newest footage. I play DayZ a lot, and I think this footage is from a while ago, but just maybe to give you guys some semblance of actual DayZ content. If you watch to the end of this video, you'll actually see a firefight, or a, as close to a firefight as I like to get in this game. On the main menu, like most main menus, you're going to be presented with several choices. We will take a look at the options first. When I start playing a new game, I am fond of always just going straight to either the options or the settings or whatever the game calls it. I'm usually looking for a difficulty setting that I can turn to, like story mode or easy mode. You'll find out right away in DayZ that there are no difficulty settings. It's always set on incredibly difficult permadeath mode. With the rest of these settings, there isn't too much that I actually customize here. On almost every game I play, I turn down the music volume, and it's also worth noting in this screen that there is an option to enable mouse and keyboard controller bindings instead of the PlayStation 5 controller. There is a tutorials choice from the main menu that is kind of a joke. It's a 5-picture slideshow. The irony is, I think all this stuff in these slideshows is valuable information to have. It's worth knowing. I think this is maybe the worst way you could present it to a player. I think we're all used to a tutorial being interactive and something that the game walks you through and shows you how to do, I don't know, at least some of the most basic stuff. But of course, DayZ doesn't have like levels or traditional progression systems. There's no real way for the game to differentiate a new player from a player who has like 4,000 hours in the game. The skip tutorial option aside that exists in most games already, I guess they thought that this was just the easiest way to get this information out there, and skippable if necessary, but I think it's too skippable. And it's worth your time to take a look at these slides. Especially, I would say the inventory slide is the most important one. Maybe some of the stuff you could chalk up to common sense, especially when you've put a lot of hours into the game, like I have. It's hard to know how much of this is need to know for a 0-hour, Bambi. But the inventory menu is definitely useful. Take a look at that if you're a new player. Try to understand, particularly the part in the bottom right corner where it says, if you want to use, combine, or consume an item, always put it in your hands first. Stuff like that is really good tips. It's just criminally easy to gloss right over that stuff if you were, flying through these menus or and that's if you bothered to click on them at all. We'll take a look at the controls next. I always like to take a look at the control bindings in a new game that I'm playing. I can tell you right away, especially if you're new, don't bother memorizing the vehicle controls. I've put a lot of hours into DayZ. I've been in a car twice, and I have never driven one. I don't really know the vehicle controls, and that has never hindered me so far. The general controls, combat controls, and inventory controls are all very useful. Again, presented really poorly in a slideshow format instead of, somewhat interactively the way that video games normally do. So it's really hard to know how vital some of this information is. I don't mind saying that I did make a controller hint video on my channel that does go into detail about why some of these button bindings are so valuable to know. It's really difficult to tell just from a static slideshow which of these you're going to be using, and so I found that from posting that one video, a few things that people might not know, all those things are in this slideshow. Players don't know them, so that's proof right there that not enough people are going through these sort of beginner hints that the game provides. There is a customized character option. This is not as important as you'd think, and I say that because I'm comparing it to, I don't know, like every other video game that I've ever played, where the character customization is like gonna dictate the rest of your playthrough. This game is the opposite of that. All of these options are 100% cosmetic. Like, none of these characters are stronger or faster or better at stealth kills than the other ones. The clothes don't matter because as soon as you can, I mean the first opportunity that you get, you're going to want to replace the clothes you're wearing. So try not to trip too much about how your character looks or what you're wearing before you start your playthrough. Unless, of course, this matters to you. If you choose to make that important to you, go for it. It's kind of a role-playing game, at least it can be. So how you look is customizable for a reason, but just know right off the bat, it doesn't really have any bearing on what you're going to be able to do in the game. And then here we go. We're going to finally click play. This is the most important part of playing the game is getting into a server and kind of figuring out how this works. And again, dude, there was no explanation to this. I remember doing this wrong for probably the first, 10 hours that I played DayZ. I had no idea how any of this worked, and I thought I was losing progress. I sort of was losing progress, but anyway, here's how it goes. You have official versus community servers, and that's sort of self-explanatory. Official servers are hosted by Bohemia, I assume, and there's no modifications. All the rules are what they call vanilla. So the true, put in quotes, true DayZ experience that the devs intended is found in the official vanilla servers. Community servers can be modded. They almost all have some sort of customization done to them that makes them community servers. If you're new to the game, I suggest official. I mean, even if you're not new to the game, if you're on the console version of DayZ, so all these servers give you a lot of information right on the screen. For me, the most two useful things are the location of the server and the population of the server. The location of the server is going to kind of inform how smooth your experience is. Ping is a big part of it, and it puts you at an actual tactical disadvantage to be playing on a server that's not near your actual region where you live. So be smart about that. I live in America. It's a big country, so we actually have 3 different regions in America for servers that we can join. So I picked a server a long time ago, years ago, and I only play on that one. Never had any issues. The population of the server that I chose is usually pretty low. Probably not surprised that I want a more chilled out DayZ experience if I can get it, and the high pop servers are obviously filled with killers, and that's not really what I'm going for. I do enjoy interacting with other players, and sometimes that means shooting them from a long ways away, but usually I prefer to just not hear gunshots, not have anyone shoot at me, and let me just go, get my sewing kits and shoot my deer and live my life in peace out there. The other options that you see here are third person versus first person perspective. You're also going to see temporary servers. I don't play on them. Again, I play on the same server every time I log on, and the server that I play on has like an improvised shelter and a bunch of buried stashes all over it of stuff that I've invested in. So you can't really do that on a temporary server. I don't know much about them. Someone smarter than me in the comments can probably tell you like how long a temporary server lasts, or even, like why they really pop up and what the value is to them. The mouse and keyboard option is enabled on some of these servers. That's important. It goes back to the options in the main menu where you can turn that on. If you prefer playing that way, I don't blame you. I will say the downside, from what I've heard, is that the menu UIs are still, set up for controller bindings. So mouse and keyboard is going to help you shoot me in the head. It may not necessarily help you with kind of the awkward menu system that we're all dealing with on PlayStation. You also see Livonia servers. If you don't have Livonia purchased, you will not have the option to join these servers, obviously. The Livonia servers, within them, all have the same sort of server options. So you can have a Livonia first person only, temporary mouse and keyboard server if that's what you're looking for. And now we get into the part that I think is probably the most difficult part to understand, and the part that, God, the game really needs to tell people how this works when they're playing. Like, even just, when you leave a server, there's a 15-second countdown that says your player will remain on the server until the countdown. Well, no shit. I can see myself sitting there on the server watching the countdown, so I'm not surprised that my player still exists there. What it should tell me is, like, how my progress works. What you want to do is first, maybe even before you join the server, hit the favorite button on the menu, and it will put a little star next to the server, and it'll indicate that's the server that you went into, because unless you are like, Dustin Hoffman in The Rain Man, you probably aren't just going to remember that random code, especially first-time player who doesn't know how any of this works. You're going to have no idea what server you jumped into. But favorite the one you do go into, because it's important. When you leave that server, you get your countdown and you exit the server, you're going to get brought back to the main menu. And you can continue playing from that exact place on the map with all the stuff that you had on you the next time you boot up the game, if you join the same exact server. That's the only caveat. Joining a different first-person server with a first-person character will give you your loadout. So everything you had on you, all your gear, will remain on your person, but you will load into a different server, meaning you load into a different version of Trinaris. Think of it like alternate universes. The universe that I left on my favorite server has all my buried stashes and all those other players that I've come to know and hate. And then in this new server that I'm loading into, it's a mirror image, right? All the buildings, roads, rivers are all exactly the same. None of the player impact is the same. It's like this world has been going on and on for years before me and for years after I leave, and it's doing its own thing. It's separate from anything I've ever done on my own server. If you were playing on a community server and then the next time you try to log in, you go to an official one, you're going to log in with a fresh character on the coast. Those community server characters and the official characters, they have no ties to each other. You can't carry loot or progress back and forth between those characters. So your character is extremely dependent on the server that you go into. This video, I think, answers a lot of the questions that, again, I hate that people have to wonder about this game. This game is hard enough. Like, how do you find food? How do you, where do you go to find good loot? All the questions that are part of gameplay, that are part of the experience, I got no problem with those questions. I'm happy to help with that. But this stuff, like, how do you save your progress, and why doesn't the game tell me things that I need to know? That really bothers me. With people that are still buying this game, I think they could have invested a little bit back into one of these updates and making a proper, like, introduction to playing the game. And I don't mean this introduction video, because this introduction video is basically just a trailer. It doesn't help anybody. I do really love this game, and I might edit out some of the negative stuff that I just said. And as promised, here is some footage of me killing some people. A lot of the DayZ stuff that I put on this channel makes it look like I never engage with people, and I never actually play the game how it's quote-unquote meant to be played, but I do sometimes. So here's some footage of me avenging my friend in Livonia. The first guy that I kill, you see him shoot like a second before I shot, and that one shot that he had killed my friend. So enjoy this footage of me being violent in DayZ, and as always, I really hope that this tutorial, this information, helps any new players out there to actually enjoy the game. I want you guys to make educated decisions. Like, if you hate the game and it's not for you, that's totally acceptable with DayZ. I just want you to hate the game because of the game and not because of some of the idiotic menu options or lack of information. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe out there, everybody.